Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is our last day together, and we have been on quite a journey. We started with the physical level, physical health. We moved through the emotional body into the mental body. And finally, we're talking about spiritual principles that underlie and contribute to health. So today, we are going to talk about health as freedom. And we want to introduce you to this definition of health that is from our teacher, Professor George Vitolkis. And we'll get into that in a minute, but Elizabeth has a few words to say from her perspective.
Yeah. Yeah, I immediately want to jump into the definition of health that I believe in, but I just want to give you a background. Uh, as a nurse, I was raised in allopathic medicine, where you treat the symptom, where disease, figuring out the dis-ease is the most important thing, where pharmaceuticals are the go-to. And always in my heart as a nurse, I felt and yearned for so much more for my own health, for and the health of the patients and clients that I work with. And I feel like the definition that we're going to talk about today takes it to an entirely different level. What I am glad about in allopathic medicine is that now at least everybody is talking about the whole person. But what does that mean? We still talk about the whole person, but groups of people are treated the same way with the same medication. I don't believe that that brings us to that highest level of health.
Yeah, and I think it's tied into this idea of a disease. Like if there's a disease,
Yeah,
we have a diagnosis, then we have a protocol that we use to get rid of this disease. So it's this model that's based on getting on the absence of something
exactly.
rather than the presence of something. And it reminds me of this interview I heard with Mother Teresa, where they were asking her, like, how do you get all these amazing things done? Like she would be up against, so much resistance. And she said, I just always focus on being for what I'm for instead of being against what I'm not for. Our medical system is set up to be against what we're not for instead of being for what we're for. Most medical students never hear a definition of what it means to be healthy. They only hear about what it means to be diseased.
Yeah, well said, Chelsea. I've lived it. I've lived it in the medical field and see it constantly. And I love this idea as you read this definition of health, you're going to see that it is very individualized and you are not placed in a group. What is evaluated and looked at are the different levels that we all have. We all have a physical level, we all have a mental, an emotional, a spiritual level. But within those levels, there are incredible nuances that make up the individual that cannot be treated as a group.
All right, so let's have it. You ready?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we're
So,
ready.
according to Professor George Vitolkis, and I will also link to a video. There's a longer video where he explains his definition. It's amazing. He's a very dynamic speaker. And you can check that out too if you're interested in hearing more about this definition. So, according to him, health is freedom from pain in the physical body, having attained a state of well being, freedom from passion on the emotional level, having as a result a dynamic state of serenity and calm. Not just serenity and calm, but a dynamic state of serenity and calm. So there's an aliveness there. And finally, freedom from selfishness in the mental sphere, having as a result total unification with the truth. This is where we're talking about really like a spiritual principle, total unification with the truth. What does that mean? It means to be fully present and with reality, with what is, acceptance. So, having heard this definition, I'd like to invite you to think about how you've thought about health in the past, how this definition compares to how you've been thinking about health, and finally, what you would need to change or what would need to change for you. So, for you to feel that you are truly embodying health. These are big questions. So that's why we saved it for the last day. You can ponder this, and let us know, let us know what you're thinking. And if you have questions and want to discuss, this is the meat. This is
It
really,
is. It's powerful. It is a powerful change in perspective in how you look at your own health.
this is the pivot point. Like,
Mhm.
really, if you know what it is you are trying to attain, it will completely change the way that you approach your health and healthcare. All right.
All
So
right.
this is it. This is a wrap. Thank you so much for sticking with us through this journey.
Yes.
Really appreciate you being here and hope to see you again next year.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Goodbye.